Persons researching continuing care retirement communities, or CCRCs, will typically encounter a home for life contractual provision, stating that residents will never be asked to leave a community so long as they abide by the contract. But many CCRCs expand upon the home for life concept by promising residents in writing that even if they run out of money, they will be able to continue living at the community. These are called benevolence clauses. How can communities possibly afford to make that financial commitment to residents? Understand that no senior community wants its residents to run out of money, which is why seniors' financial ability to pay is usually reviewed prior to residency. Typically, a long-term plan is worked out with residents applying a formula to determine their financial ability to pay. For instance, a community may want residents to have assets twice the amount of the entrance fee and monthly income 1.5 times the monthly service fee. So if the entrance fee were $250,000, then a community would want persons to have $500,000 in assets. If the monthly service fee were $3,000, then a community would want a resident to have $4,500 in monthly income. Formulas vary from community to community, and it's appropriate for seniors to inquire about what formula a community may be using to determine financial eligibility. Many communities have established foundations with money set aside and invested that can be used to offset the cost of a resident who no longer has enough income and assets to pay for a residence. However, before a community taps into its foundation to pay for a resident's living expenses, the resident must usually deplete his or her own assets before a community would start subsidizing that individual. That includes spending down the refundable portion of an entrance fee. Also, communities protect themselves with contract clauses that hold residents accountable. These clauses vary in detail, but essentially provide that if one's inability to pay is not due to one's own carelessness, then communities will not terminate residency. Here's an example. We will not terminate this contract if, in our sole judgment, your inability to pay is not the result of negligent, willful, or unreasonable dissipation of your assets and does not jeopardize the financial security of the community or other residents. Just because a community may not include benevolence provisions in its contract does not necessarily mean they are not committed to the expanded home for life concept. If you inquire, you may discover that there are some longtime residents who continue to live in a community even though they've exhausted their ability to pay on their own. Whether the promise is in writing or not, communities do not publish who is being subsidized, thus preserving residents' dignity and respecting their privacy.